and welcome to another video from Commodore. This time, before I let you into the C64 work, I do have to do a bit of snow cleaning, snow removal, whatever you call it. This is the northern Norway in the middle of March 2025. We usually get a lot of snow of this time of the year. When everybody else is experiencing the springtime, we are having the last snowfall, and the last week or week and a half it's been snowing more than half a meter, so it's going to continue some more days and then it's going to rain, so we have to clean this up. What you see here is the front part of my property, and to the right I do have a larger garden area, so it's approximately 2,000 square meters with outside area to this property, and I do have some of it as parking space, a lot of it as a green area and some recreational area, and I also on the other side of the house I have a parking space for 2 cars. And if you're wondering what this has to do about electronics, old computers and all the other stuff I'm preaching about, then I can assure you it does have nothing at all to do with that. But what you can see here in the background is my auto shed, where I have my, let's say mechanical department to the left, and the other warm and cozy area on the right. And in front of the area on the right there is the outdoor area where I keep the snow blower and other stuff. Yes, and what you heard there is pieces of gravel. This year we have no frost in the ground, so the gravel is not frozen underneath the snow, so sometimes it gets caught in the snow blower and it blows all over my lawn. And we are noticing the global warming here in Norway as well, and the last 2 months, the February and January, has been the warmest January and February ever measured since they started measuring this way back. That was 10 times speed, and imagine doing this several times a week for 20, 25, 30 minutes each day. Yes, after this long intro, I won't bore you much with any more details. We are just heading over to the bench, and today we are going to, just tidy up some and tie up some loose ends. Yeah, we do have to do some tidying up here. This is the scrap board that I looked into in my last video, and yeah, we can of course turn it on and check that it still works, like so. Yeah, it probably works just fine. And this board, I'm going to leave the VIC-2 chip, but I'm going to take out this chip. I have ordered some of these, so we have to see when they arrive. I'm leaving the SID chip as well. I'm going to mark this as OK. Like so, and so it is. And this, since they are in sockets. The other chips are not special chips, so I will just leave them out. And I'm also going to take out the JCIA. I'm going to need that when I do some more repairs, I think. So, and I'm also going to just leave this, as I do have some uncertain tests. I know this works and it makes the system bootable. And here you can see some of the strangeness with Commodore. This is a revision C board, and this was made probably sometime during the first week of 1984 is the newest chip that is on board here. Revision C. And the two other boards I had, it's Revision B. That should be older. And these are made in, yeah, probably some time around week 25 or something. This is week 23, I think that was the newest chip here. So this is made halfway into 1984 and it's a Revision B board. And this I'm going just to pack it away. I know it's fully working, so we can use this to do tests. And I'm going to populate this board again. Yeah, we can also take the SID chip from the other one. Like so. And I'm going to clean up this terrible dried out heat paste. People are often complaining about this heatsink thingy here that was pre-installed by Commodore. It's a copper surface that actually fits quite well onto this chip, and of course heat is radiating from the chip as well, but the heat transfer that you get from this one is actually quite good. So of course you can use some more heat sinks on this, but in my experience it's better to just use this, yeah, like so. And we just lift it again, so we see that it made contact and that it did. Very nice contact. So then that is fixed, and this had two working CIAs, and we just leave everything in place like so, and we just test this up. This was the board where we didn't change all the micron chips. Power. And joystick ports. And diagnostics. And diagnostics, like so. Yeah, we're just going to run through this, and when I do that, this is the chips that we have changed. Of course, I had 6526, I packed that away. 2 microns, 1 of these 2114 and one 74257. So that is what we have replaced this time. And when this board is now checked out, that is working as it should start on the music just now. Yeah, so fully working. So this board I will be placing into the case where we had the damaged keyboard. And I was wondering if I should look into this keyboard. And I've decided that I would not do that just as of now, because I will rather collect the keyboards that is bad and do a separate repair to fix up some defunct keyboards. Yeah, and little did he know. Yeah, this is the case. Yeah, it's still some dirt in here. Yes, good enough for what we're doing here. And I also have the paper tray for this one. How was this? It was... I think it was like so. Yeah, it was. And this paper tray is of course not very good either as an RF shield, but it's working and it do take away some of the noise. I know that from experience, but it's also trapping some heat inside here. So I'm going to put a heat sink on this one and probably on this one as well. I only had these two heat sinks here. They are high and blue, and they are fitting nicely over where the heating really counts, because the heat is originating in the middle of the chip where you have the substrate. All the rest here is mostly wires. And I do have some better heat sinks for this, but I'm out of tape. My heat conductive tape is not working. So this is what I got for now. So this should be it for inside of this. And I do have the keyboard here. And this is the one that is missing the two keys. It did have one of the clips intact in the back at least. Like so. And I do wonder about the screws here, because this one is broken. You can see the plastic it's sitting here, so there is no reason to turn in that screw because the bottom is missing from this case. So it will have to do with the two middle ones. The middle one and one on the side, of course. And the 6 and the 7 keys here. I will just leave them here with some painter's tape so that it's possible to fix this. But I did not find the spring. I do know that I had one of these springs, but I couldn't find it just now. But when we do the fix of the keyboards, so then we park this one and on to the next one. Yeah, there is really no need for anything more cleanup. So you can see that now I do have a terrible lag in the picture. So I'm going to check this camera setup again. Yeah, I checked this out and I'm not sure if the lag is noticeable. I will try with... Yeah, it seems to me like the picture is lagging a lot. I'm not sure if that matters. We do have another thing going for us today, and that is this one. This is another one of the C64 that was in my lot, and this is a German, yeah, and it's has a serial number of C51479, so probably not the earliest version. And if I look at the motherboard here from the inside, it do look like a 407 board, but we are going to check that out in a minute. It's missing one screw on this side. This is the smaller screws, but we can test it before we do anything else. Of course, it's a bummer if it works perfect. Three, 8, 9, 11 bytes free. And the picture seems kind of dark, but on my screen it appears perfectly good. I will try to adjust it a bit. I don't know if it became more readable. Yeah, just leave it like that. Yeah, we have to keep it like so. And it do seems to be working perfectly, but we are going to take it apart anyway to see what's inside, to see if there are any surprises. And I might also connect up the harness to see if there is any reason why this should not work. There was no screw in here. Like so. I do have the case with these thin hooks, and they are not totally broken, but they are not totally fine either. And just disconnect here. There is a lot of sockets in this machine, and what kind of, it's a 407 Revision A board. I actually don't think I've seen a Revision A now in at least in the last couple of years, and someone has been inside here and doing stuff, because it has new capacitors. Someone has been in here fiddling with that, and all the chips are in a socket. It's not the latest revision of the kernel. It's a 03 version is the latest. This is U2, and the 0683, 0283, 3283. Of course, when they are in sockets, it doesn't matter that much. And we do have, yeah, it's not a Commodore branded PLA. What else? It has two of these DIN socket with the white plastic, three actually, because the power is also the same. It has the black power switch. It has the joystick ports with the plastic that covers up everything. And it does have some chips here. We can look underneath and see if we can trace on. Of course, this board has been out when all the capacitors has been soldered, and that also can be the time when the sockets were put in. And you can also see the TV modulator. It's rusty, and this is also heavy corroded. And this TV modulator, someone has been inside because it's desoldered on this point. If someone has put these sockets in, they have done quite a good job. I do have one solder joint here, no one here. That's not filled up to the way I like it. You have two cold solderings here, and otherwise this looks kind of factory. And the same with this, but it can be that they have done a good cleaning afterwards. And if there is any large differences between this is the revision C board that we had and the revision A board. I'm not aware of what changes there actually is, but we can just take a short look to see if there is any obvious differences. Yeah, a short comparison does not reveal any big changes. In fact, most of the things I see here, except from the version indentations, yeah, it's not easy to compare these things just on the fly, but they do look fairly similar. This has this capacitor soldered in, it's not on this board. Yeah, nothing much. But we are just going to put this back together, and we are going to connect the harness first to check if we do have all the chips working. These are quite okay heatsinks. Oh, I'm going to leave this off so I can test with the keyboard on the harness thingy. What do you think? What are the odds that everything is okay? That this 64 was left me totally tested and okay. I do have turned the audio up, so we will be able to see or hear the sounds from the SID chip also. Yeah, the SID chip was also doing okay. I did have one pop that was a bit earlier, and you can see that this is the version 2 of the kernel. Doesn't matter much, but there are some slight differences. But this was a boring one. But we have not totally giving up yet. There might still be some fault with this machine. Yeah, the basic screen again. And here we can see there is a lag in the picture and that the sound and the picture is not totally aligned. Sorry about that. I do think we can conclude that this keyboard could have been better. All the keys in the top row are kind of bad. Well, this one works good, but the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 works okay. So these keys here are a bit weak. I do have to touch them a lot. So we might have to do something about that. And we can actually do it straight away, even though I tend to concentrate on electrical faults. This is such a nice C64 that it deserves a working keyboard. And the last time I repaired keyboard was with the +4 actually. And the main issue with these keyboards is that you do have to remove all these screws, and this keyboard has been opened before. You can see that the screws here are broken, not the screws but the tape is broken through over the through the plastic. What do we have here? Okay, you can actually see here, this was the one that was not missing, and it's probably a bit difficult to see here on the camera, but there are some corrosion here. You can actually feel the corrosion with the screwdriver. And this one is actually green. I'm not going to do much about this, but I'm going to clean out these pads. It might be something that is stored on this keyboard or something, because I do think that there has been some work done here, because there are some solder on these ones. And this is probably the return key, and this solder bob is quite severe. So I'm not sure what's going on here. I didn't notice the solder blobs, but I'm going to clean out this with some contact cleaner. And this contact cleaner here will, just doing like so, and I'm going to wash them afterwards. And I'm also going to check what's going on with this solder. I do wonder if you have to check the plungers that's on the other side, the reception area of these plugs. The fix with soldering on this I've never seen before. Back in the day, when we had a bad C64 keyboard, we actually just swept the keyboards. Some hairs in here. I do think that this is carbon stuff, so it's possible to just carbon this one. And one way to do that is to use a pencil just to add some graphite on these. But soldering these, I don't know what's up with that. And it was quite a blob of solder too. Maybe they felt that if they made this kind of thick, the solder, they would need less force to plunge these down. And maybe that is a real issue. Yeah, that was all the blobs. I'm also going to try to use this to scratch out some of the corrosion up on this key here, like so. Yeah, maybe we should just try to solder this back on and check. If that does not work, we can try to add some pencil strokes on the pads of these things, and of course there is lots and lots of screws, And I remember back in the day I did fix some of my own keyboards and some of my buddies' keyboards after I left the trade and I didn't have access to spare parts and warranty keyboards anymore. I actually found a couple of keyboards that was leftover keyboards from back in the day when I looked through some C64 stuffs a couple of years back. Oh. I do think that was some bad plastics. These two. It doesn't take. And you can see here the plastic kind of sticks to the screw here, so it's loose. And one trick that we can use on this, I don't have any good wires, but I can show you. This is thin threads from wires, and if I just take one of these, I'll take a couple. Oh, very difficult to keep them here because they are small, but now there are two of these in this hole, and I can try the screw again. Yeah, and now it actually sticks. So just two thin pieces of this threaded wire, and the plastic has enough traction so it will keep the screw. If we was to do this when we was doing repair work back in the day, then we would have not earned any money at all, because this takes some time. And a C64 repair that takes as long time as to disconnect and connect the keyboard, that is not something you are going to earn your money on. I just used to cut these wires and just solder them back together. Yeah, but let's try it like so. Be careful with the hooks. Yeah, some of the keys are a bit, they're not as responsive as they should be, but they are much better, and every key now works. But the 1 and the 2s, I do think I have to push them a bit harder than I would really like. But all in all, it seems to be working as it should, and I also test through all the other keys. Yeah, I do think that's a good keyboard. And of course we don't have a cartridge, so we don't get to test these, but screw things back in. Oh, look at that. It's one screw. I do have one leftover screw. Yeah, it's this one. It was the last one I took out. Yeah, like so. So then another working Commodore 64. Sorry that it was not any electronic fault on this one, but you can't win them all. Sometimes they just work. Yes, that will be it for this episode, and it's a bit shorter than my previous 2 episodes at least, and I didn't find any fault with this C64. I tried to make this interesting. I do think it's interesting, and I lied to myself. I said I didn't want to do keyboards in this episode, but I do think it was interesting for me to see inside this keyboard and see what someone has done and making solder on these pads. The thought has never occurred to me. I've always tried to fix the plungers, not the pads. When the pads are clean, they are clean. And next time I do still have one more C64. I've cleaned out the bench. There is no C64 stuff behind me right now. Of course the harness and stuff is still there, so I want to test the last C64. And I do have some other things on the table. I did get 2 OEM aftermarket power supplies in the lot, and I also bought off the internet of a kind guy that I paid some money for getting a lot of old power supplies for Commodore equipment. And I want to test them. I want to see how they have stood up to the time. And that probably is not the next episode, but I will make a whole episode, maybe more than one, about C64, C128 and maybe Amiga power supplies. I did, as I said, get a whole lot, and I want to measure out that. And I do also plan to make some videos about drives. I have not made a single video about 1541s, I think, since I started, and this is my 200th video, so there is a lot of videos to watch in my back catalog, including a large playlist on C64 stuff and also a separate playlist, I think, on the, it is, a separate playlist on the power supply stuff. So please watch some of my older content. Please hit like and subscribe if you enjoy what you are seeing. And until next time, take care.